بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد سيد الأولين والآخرين مدد يا رسول مدد يا سادات أصحاب رسول مدد يا مشايخنا دستور ولا شاء الله فاز حسن شيخ محمد قال مدد طريقتنا الصحبة والخير في الجمعية. يقول يا ليتني قدمت لحياتي. صدق الله العظيم. İnsan onu ahirette son nefes verdikten sonra ne olduğu bütün hayatı gözü önüne gelecek.
In the hereafter, after a person gives their last breath, what happened their whole life passes by before their eyes.
Derler, film gibi derler.
And they say it's like watching a film.
Öyle oluyor yani.
And this is how it happens.
İnsan bakıyor, bu hayatta keşke bir şeyler yapsaydım.
A person then looks back and feels regret, wishing they had done something in this life.
Ve hasret eder insan. Öleceği vakit, son nefeslerde Allah Azze ve Celle onların basiretini açar.
At the time of death, in the last breaths, Allah Almighty opens a person's inside.
Her şeyi görür.
And then they see everything.
Yanındakilerini, öndekilerini, yaptıklarını.
They see those beside them, they see that before them, and they see all that they have done.
Keşke bir şey yapsaydım diye.
And they will say in regret, if only I had done this and done that. And they will say, I wish I had done something.
Keşke inan olmuyor.
But it doesn't work with I wish.
Şimdi insanlar yaşarken keşke şu işi yapsaydım, bu kadar para kazanırdım.
Now people are still alive and they say, I wish I had done this business. I would have earned so much money, they say.
Keşke bu yeri alsaydım, bu kadar malım olurdu.
I wish I had bought this piece of land. I would have had so much wealth.
Şey olurdu. Bundan evlensem şöyle olurdu.
If I had married this person, it would have been like this.
Bundan iş yapsam böyle olur diye.
If I had done business, it would have turned out like that.
Yaşarken bunlara şey yapar insan, hasret olur ki.
While living, a person feels regret for these things they couldn't do.
Yapamadım, canı sıkılır.
And people then get upset and their morale breaks.
Morali bozulur. Yapmadık, etmedik. Bak bu kadar şey vardı.
And they will regret, their morale breaks and they will regret, we didn't do it, we didn't act. Look, there were so many opportunities we missed, they will say.
Herkes istediğini yapabilseydi olurdu ama istediği şey Allah Azze ve Celle ona açacağı şey, hayır işleri, ibadetini yapmak isterse Allah Azze ve Celle mani olmaz.
And if everyone could do whatever they wanted, it would always happen, everything would happen all at once. But what is important to know is that Allah Almighty opens what is good for one. Allah Almighty opens the good deeds. So for example, if someone wants to perform their worship, Allah Almighty does not prevent a person from performing their worship.
Yani bu insanlar Allah yaptırmadı. Doğru, Allah yaptırmadı ama onun da bir sırrı var.
Of course, everything happens by the will of Allah Almighty. And nothing may happen without the will of Allah Almighty. And if something happens, it happens through the will of Allah Almighty. And if people don't do things, it is true that, yes, Allah Almighty didn't make them do it, but this needs to be understood correctly. There is a secret to that.
Sen Allah yaptırma deyince sen kabahatı Allah Azze ve Celle'ye yüklüyorsun.
Because you are held accountable for your own deeds. You can't blame Allah Almighty. And therefore one must be careful, because if you say, Allah didn't make me do it, then Allah forbid, you are blaming Allah Almighty for your own fault.
Sen hiçbir şeyin yok. Senin
And it's as if you have no part in it.
temizsin, şey yaparsın.
You portray yourself as blameless.
Hatta mazlumsun.
And you even act as if you were the victim of Allah Almighty.
Haşa. Olmaz.
Allah forbid. It's not like that.
İnsan Allah Azze ve Celle'nin bu sırlarından bir sırdır.
Destiny, it is a secret of Allah Almighty, and He Almighty Allah only knows His secrets.
Kader bir de insanın ibadet yapacağı, edeceği şeyin nasıl olduğunu kendi bilir ama insan istese demek Allah Azze ve Celle ona yaptırır.
And destiny is one of those secret aspects only Allah Almighty knows. But what one needs to know is that if a person wants to do worship, then Allah Almighty will open the ways for that person in order to perform their worship.
Ama o irade-i cüz'ire, irade-i külliye var. Onu insan kabahatı ona atmasın.
And we must know that there is a partial free will, and besides the free will people have been given, there's the complete will of Allah Almighty, and one must not mix up those two things. So we are held accountable for our own deeds, and the deeds we do them through our own will, and therefore we must not blame Allah Almighty for our own wrongdoings and for those things for which we are going to be held accountable, because Allah Almighty did give us a will based on which we act.
İnsan yapsın, ibadetini yapsın. İbadet yapmak zor değil.
And Allah Almighty gave us a will, and we must use that will in order to act. And one should strive to perform their worship, and performing one's worship is not difficult.
İbadetten çok daha zor şeyler insanlar yapar bütün gün.
Because people do things far more difficult than worship every day.
Dünya için ibadetin 100 katını yaparlar. Ondan yorulmazlar, şikayet etmezler.
All day long, for the sake of this world, people do 100 times more work, and they don't get tired or complain.
Ama ibadete gelince işte yapamıyorum, edemiyorum diye.
But when it comes to worship, they make excuses, saying, I can't do it, I'm unable to do it.
Mazeret gösterirler. Ama işte dediğimiz gibi Allah Azze ve Celle son nefesinde onu gösterir.
But Allah Almighty will show them everything in their last breath.
Bu defa faydası olmaz.
And at that point, that regret is of no benefit. It is going to be useless.
Keşke yapsaydım, keşke etseydim, keşke namaz kılsaydım, keşke oruç tutsaydım.
And during those last breaths, one would regret all the worship one missed. And people will then say, I wish I had done it. I wish I had acted. I wish I had prayed my prayers. I wish I had fasted.
Keşke sadaka verseydim, zekat verseydim, keşke hacca gitseydim.
I wish I had given charity. I wish I had given my zakat. I wish I had gone for Hajj.
Param vardı, sıhhatim yerindeydi.
And I wish I had done all those acts of worship because I had the money. My wealth was good.
Yok sonra yaparım, ederim derken nefes bitti.
But what people do, they say, I'll do it later. And while they postpone all these responsibilities, suddenly their breath is gone and it's over.
Gitti. Allah muhafaza etsin.
May Allah Almighty protect us.
Allah yapmasını nasip etsin.
May Allah Almighty grant us the ability to perform our duties.
Tembelliği, miskinliği üzerimizden alsın inşallah.
May Allah Almighty remove this laziness and wretchedness from us, inshallah.
Allah. Allah'a tevfik. El-Fatiha.